All it is, it's exactly the same as when we made that. Exactly the same. But all I've done is put sponge on it. As long as it's nice and straight. What I have done with this is I put some MDF in between there and there, as you can see. So as I know, there's absolutely no need to do it. I don't know why I did it really, but and maybe the glue will stick better to the MDF. Gluing is another thing. It's not really under any pressure when it's holding something like so. What I do is I use a piece of non-slip matting, and I put that over the end of the sponge. And the simple reason is, if you've got a bigger bowl or a vase, when you compress this like so, it is possible that the wood could just catch your bowl on the inside. And that's the only reason to do it. It doesn't need any extra grip, because that does the job. So that is the way it works. Tell you what we didn't do, Martin, and that is when we didn't put a bowl on it to show how.
No.
Could do, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We might as well just show you the completion of it. Sorry about that, I should have done that before. So we'll put a spacer on, and oh, there we are. There's one that's got a screw hole in it, or literally you find your centre, you drill your hole, and then.
And again, it's just a 6mm hole.
It's just a 6mm hole, yeah. In fact, it could be worth going to a 5mm hole.
Right.
If you're using wet wood, I would suggest that you do use a 5mm one, so as it really gets a good grip in it. There you are, and that's it. It's there's no glue on that, but I'm sure it on the one we've just made. But I'm sure it would hold. But just to be sure, just put some glue on. So that covers that bit. See, now I told you, didn't I? There you are. Now just to go back again a step to the sponge chuck that I use. It's literally, you do exactly the same as we did with the other one, and you end up with that would go in there. Get yourself some sponge. What you can do is use double-sided sticky tape, PVA glue, anything you like. Thickness of the sponge I don't think matters an awful lot. So you glue it on there. Once it's glued, just trim it round to the size that you want, and you're away. The only thing I will say is, this is a really soft sponge, and it's always worked for me, but you can get a more high density, which I don't think I've got a piece of, oh yeah, I have, there you are. That's a piece of high density sponge. So that is not quite as giving as that. But it'll still do the job. So, any questions? John, with your hand up.
Which would you prefer, the softer or the more high density?
That's the one I've always used. I'm just saying that's a possibility. So the sponge is really a bit immaterial. One thing, a lady, what was her name? Margaret Garrett, she came to the club once and she said when she reverse chucked, she used this method as well. But the matting she used, she found marked the inside of, if I was doing that one, once it was pressed on there, it marked the wood. I've never found it mark the wood, but I have found that you do need to peel it off. But I have got some other matting in there, maybe because it's old, it doesn't leave any marks at all. So you can see that one.
That stuff new is slightly sticky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you can use it for dashboards and cars and things, and it doesn't slip off.
That's right. So I'm wondering if you rub some sawdust in it or something like that and take some of the. But I don't know whether you can get this anymore. But that does not mark, doesn't stick. That one, with the pressure of the sponge, can stick. But I've not found it mark. When I first did that, oh no, because it was all finished, ready to go. And fortunately, no marks.
So how, okay, you've shown us how to mount the bowl then onto the screw chuck. Can you show us how you mount that plate then with this reverse chucking method on?
Of course I can.
Thank you.
Right. That one is for that one, isn't it? Okay. What have we got? We can. That'll do. Yes, that'll do. So there's my.
So it's really the whole
Right,
purpose of it is so you can finish the bottom basically.
That's all it is.
Take out that little foot or.
Yeah, you should have. When you were doing your spigot, get into the habit of making a mark in the centre so as you know where the centre is for precisely this. So there it is. Tighten it off. If you've turned something thin, and this is really quite thin, you needn't really jack it up. Just keep doing that, and if it's sitting okay, that looks okay. So we're locked off. We turn it on slow speed just to see how it looks. You're not really going to get better than that, for the simple reason is your wood has moved. Whether it's been wet or dry, it still moves, doesn't it, John? When you've taken all the wood out the centre of it. What I wouldn't do is go beyond the bit you're going to take off. For the simple reason is it's all right taking the spigot off, but if you go further up there, you're going to end up with a shoulder, just a little shoulder, because up to now all that is running true with that. If you know what I mean, when it was turned it's running true. Now it isn't. So we literally just want to take that off. Is that clear? Yeah?
Yeah.
I know what I mean.
If you try and take too much off, you're left with the point from the tailstock wobbling about on the bowl, aren't you?
If you take too much off.
If you take too much off from here, when you get down to the tailstock centre,
Yeah,
it could wobble.
yeah, but usually you've got a big enough spigot to cope with that, haven't you? So what we'll do is well, thanks for your input anyway, John.
Just thought I'd let you know I was here.
I'm glad you're paying attention anyway. You don't want to be enormously fast speed. It's not, I don't think at this stage, worth doing a push cut because this edge is not running true. And the chances are you'll go in, if you're not experienced, and it's going to go that way or that way. So I would just do full cut. And this obviously wants to be concave, so as it sits just on the outer ring of the bowl. Yeah. can still see a line there. What you can do now is you can sand that. I know you can't sand the middle of it, but it's easy to sand the outside at this stage. Take a little bit off the middle and then just hand sand the rest of it down. So there it is. What I would do now is a skew chuck. This is what skew chucks are made for. Not spindle work, not anything. Just for taking that little bit off.
Skew chuck?
A screw chuck.
What are you on about, Chris? You're talking rubbish. Do you mean a skew chisel?
I mean, you didn't pick me up on that, did you? No, a skew
I
chisel.
thought I'd let you carry on and make a fool of yourself.
You know what a skew chisel looks like? Could you pass me one? Would you mind?
Which one do you want?
Up on the top row, John.
Top row.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
That's great.
It's not a skew chisel, that's a down in.
No, it's a screw chuck, this one.
Yeah.
When you're taking the bottom off, don't try and go right the way through. What I like to do is ease a bit off and keep moving round, because what you can do is tear the centre out, can't you, John?
Mm.
Yeah, you tear the centre out and that gives you an even bigger problem. So that I used an old sanding arbor, drilled a piece of wood, turned it down to go in the chuck and glued it in. As you can see, it really is an old one. And you can go through the grades just as you would with normal sanding. So if I put that on there, it's in there. And out the way. When you're doing this, use the outside of the sanding disc, but keep it moving and keep turning it round. If you're just doing that, you're not going to have a nice. You're going to make a dent in the bottom of it. Keep turning it round. And there it is, gone. And if you want to really good, go down to 240, 320, 400 and you'll have a lovely smooth bottom.